Hello everyone. So I'm back today for another video with my twin sister Nicole. And for those who don't know her yet, I've made several videos with her, so you can refer back to those on my channel.
I don't have to introduce me every time.
I feel like I do because I never know who's watching. And then who's this? Oh my gosh, you're a twin? And some people just don't know. So for those who don't, the few who don't, or maybe the many who don't, this is Nicole, my twin sister. So today we wanted to make a video on why women in general, particularly in the West, are losing their femininity. And I think the most obvious answer is because women in general today are being encouraged by the dominant culture to cast off their femininity, to abandon it, that it's worthless.
Yeah, no, definitely. The qualities that are inherent to women, like being maternal or compassionate or generous or just being warm, all of those are sort of regarded as inferior or weak.
It's looked down upon as a weakness. Yes, like being nurturing, being vulnerable, being empathetic. It's looked on as, okay, that's completely weak and we don't want to be even anything associated with this. And then the admirable traits, the ones to be admired and aspired to, are like dominance, independence, leadership as women. But if you really think about it, these are qualities that come more inherently, they come more naturally to men. So essentially, the big instigator of this has obviously been feminism. And if you think about it, then feminism is essentially encouraging women to become men.
And the thing about that, I find that very insulting, that women,
Yeah.
Women have to basically abandon their inherent qualities, their nature, to become more like men, and that's supposed to be empowering for us to just give up everything that we naturally are. So I don't find that to be empowering anyway.
I know.
It's very insulting.
Feminism is essentially like, we love women, we fight for women, but by the way, women, everything that you naturally are, just throw that out, as if it was a basket of rotten apples, and go and usurp the male role, at least in general, what comes naturally to them. And then you'll be special. Then you'll be something to be admired and inspired to. It's absolutely hideous. It's something, the reason we actually wanted to make this video is because we read a lot of books, particularly young adult literature, because we write young adult literature, and the trend in young adult literature, not even only popular young adult literature, it's also in movies. You can see it everywhere. You'll know exactly what we're talking about, but it's the strong woman is the one who's like axing down 50 men. She's like this string bean that looks completely, just scientifically, it's impossible. But yet they're out there, they have no emotions, and they're all cold and hard, and they're such a strong woman, and they're out there, they can go fight, they're independent, take care of themselves. This is the woman that's upheld as the best woman, the model women. And I think it's a complete farce.
And the thing I wanted to point out on that note was that in current times, basically they uphold this physical strength of women. If she can, has muscles or whatever and is strong and everything and can totally take care of herself. But they completely overlooked how much emotional and mental strength, how much perseverance and determination it takes for a woman to raise children. That tremendous sacrifice. They completely overlook how noble and honorable it is for a woman to be a mother. And I think when people are really, when maybe a woman, becomes a mother, she can finally realize it. Or I see just from my own mother raising 8 children, when you really, push comes to shove, and if you actually become a mother and know someone who is a mother, you see the tremendous strength it takes to do that job. And you really see kind of what the modern world is kind of, how they're trying to trick us. And things just become crystal clear, the veil sort of falls away.
Well, there's no light shown on it in the way, back then it was more just society in general would praise mothers. Nowadays, though, they don't, and so therefore mothers don't really get that attention, or just feminine women in general.
Yeah, they do the opposite.
It's because mothers, if you think about it, they live more of a hidden life. All of their sacrifices, everything, there's not a huge spotlight shown upon it, and everyone can see every day all that they go through, being pregnant those 9 months, giving birth, raising children, educating children, all of the ups and downs they have to go through. Of course, everyone undergoes tragedies at one point or another. There are difficult times, but this is just a more hidden life that people don't see. So no one thinks to put any kind of value on it. Something I actually wanted to mention is that when Lauren Southern and I were in Russia, we were in Moscow only, but it became like a game eventually, because it's something that when we noticed, we just couldn't stop noticing it. But about 80% of the women in Moscow, the Russian women, all wore dresses. And I know that obviously femininity is more than wearing a dress. It's more than how you look. It's the way you act. It's the way you carry yourself. Just everything you do, just everything that makes you up. It will determine your femininity level, so to speak. But it was just such a shock. And coming back here, it's nothing like it. But I think it does make sense because they regard feminism as, yeah, men and women are equal, but they have different roles. Of course, some women can be in politics, some women can be CEOs, but in general, they are mothers there. And so they just laugh. They just facepalm when we talk about the feminism in the West. But it's just such a different culture there. What in society is determined as valuable is completely different in regards to women than what is determined as valuable here. And so that's why you just see that different turnout with the women, because I think naturally that's what they would choose.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I think there are many potential women who would want to be mothers, but the fact is they're just so discouraged. You know, they're so discouraged from being mothers. And the thing is, when we're making this video, it's not to like throw shade or anything at women who want to be CEOs. It's not that at all. There are some very successful women who are very good in roles of leadership. You know, Ann Coulter, for example, is, you know, very successful and effective in her role in politics. But basically what we're trying to say by this video is that the dominant culture basically dissuades women from embracing that role of motherhood.
And not just motherhood, but femininity in general.
Exactly. And, you know, to embrace these, like, you know, these qualities of dominance and determination, etc. So that's basically was our intention with making this video.
And also that I think women in general should just stop taking it and letting feminism determine for them what is valuable as a woman. I think we should be like, no, I actually would like to keep these qualities that come more naturally to me and be proud of that.
Yeah.
And because then I'll actually be different from men. Like, I don't want to be a man, or like, I'm sorry. But something that I do think you have to take into consideration is a lot of the women who are in careers, being in these environments, you don't have the opportunity really to showcase these qualities that come more naturally to you, like empathy, like compassion, kindness, etc., because they're not really conducive to a workplace. You have to be more of a leader. You have to be more dominant. You have to be extremely rigid and disciplined, at least if you want to be really successful and thrive, go on the career ladder, you know, get higher on the career ladder. That's just a general rule. So looking at that, though, you can see that if you never use these qualities as a woman, you're going to lose them, in the same way that if you're, you know, really talented in some kind of sport and then you stop playing, well, obviously you're not going to be as good when you come back to it.
There was another point that I thought was interesting to bring up, is the fact that we mentioned women, by abandoning all their, you know, inherently feminine qualities, they're striving to become men. But if you notice, in the process of doing this, these feminists also despise everything that a truly masculine man is while becoming it.
Yeah.
For
Toxic
example,
masculinity.
Toxic masculinity. They despise like men who are assertive, you know, dominant leaders, when that's what these women are becoming. And you can even see there are plenty of footage on YouTube of women just becoming totally, you know, like screaming, being very dominant and assertive in some like situation. But to me, it seems very hypocritical of them to kind of pull this thing where, oh, we hate everything that you are, but we want to become it. Yeah, so once again, we just think that women who are against feminism need to take their femininity back, and to maybe not let the social norms of today pressure them into abandoning or looking on their natural qualities as a woman as something worthless or something to be looked down upon.
Yeah, because it is what makes us unique at the end of the day. We'll just be exactly like men. There'll be no difference between us, or at least we'll try to, but not do as good of a job as them, because it's what comes naturally to them. But just one more thing I wanted to add is, I know we spent this whole video talking about women, femininity, and how much women should, especially particularly mothers, should be valued and admired. That's not to say at all that fathers shouldn't be given the same amount of admiration, the same amount of respect. I think we could actually do an entirely separate video on this, but I just didn't want to conflate the two. I think that, yeah, we'll look into doing a separate video on everything that fathers do, you know, how they have to sacrifice so much to work to support their families, or all that just young men in general in society, how much flack they have to take and how much they suffer and undergo. So it's definitely something to be breached as well. Very important. But as I said, we'll do a separate video on that. So just wanted to put that out there. Disclaimer, we're not saying that only women are great and men are, you know, trash. No, not at all. So anyways, thanks so much for watching, everyone. It was a bit rambly, but, you know, I think we got what we wanted to say across, at least to an extent. So thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you soon. Bye.